Hi everyone, this is Josie with First the Coffee Crochet. Welcome back to my channel. In this crochet tutorial, we're going to go over how to make the hanging crochet basket. This pattern uses the linked half double crochet stitch throughout most of the body of the basket. If you don't know how to do this stitch, that's okay. We will go over how to do that in this tutorial. Once this is all put together, it is 7 inches wide by 13 inches tall, plus another 2 inches for the ring that it uses to hang from. The materials needed to make this basket is 185 yards of a cotton medium weight yarn. I did use 2 skeins for each basket of the Eco Cotton by Loops and Threads. You'll also need a 4.5mm crochet hook, scissors, yarn needle to weaving your ends, and stitch markers. This pattern is worked all in one piece, but the pattern itself is separated into 4 different sections. You have the initial ring that you make, and then the body is worked off of that in a triangle. And then you have the bottom seam and the diagonal front seam that connects the 2 folds together. The sewing is not necessary to create this. However, if you would prefer to sew the seams together instead of using crochet stitches, that can be done also. So let's go ahead and get started with this. As always, there is a written pattern available on my website, along with pictures to help aid you in the process, and I will leave a link for that down below. To start out, you'll want to create a foundation chain of 12 chains. Once you have your foundation chain, go ahead and join the last chain in the first chain using a slip stitch. It's not really necessary to make sure you haven't turned this chain or anything. If you don't like using the foundation chain, you can also use a magic ring. And this is going to be the base for our hook of the basket. So then you're going to chain 1, and just going over this tail and around this chain, you're going to do a single crochet 20 times. So to do that, you're just going to take your hook, go onto the inside of the ring and underneath it, yarn over and pull a loop up, and then yarn over and pull through both loops. You can get about halfway. Just go ahead and tighten these up by just pulling them back towards the start. And then once you get to 20, go ahead and do a slip stitch to the first stitch. Okay, so after you do that round 1, now we're going to start into the rows. So we're just going to be going off the end this way. Go ahead and chain 2. And then starting in this first stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 half double crochets. To do a half double crochet, you just yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Do that twice in that second stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and turn our work. Now we'll be doing row 2. So we're going to start increasing each row. For row 2, we're only increasing by 1 stitch. And this is where we're going to start doing a linked half double crochet. So you'll chain 2. And then in this first chain that you did, insert your hook and pull up a loop. That'll give you 2 loops on your hook. Then go into this first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and that'll give you 3 loops on your hook. Just yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And that's how you're going to do the first linked half double crochet every time you start off by pulling up a loop in that first chain of your initial chain 2. Now we're going to do another linked half double crochet in that same first stitch. So to do it just a regular linked half double crochet that's not the first one of the row is you see these 3 horizontal bars of the previous stitch. We're going to be going under this middle one. So just take your hook, go underneath that, yarn over and pull up a loop, then go back into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. So now we're going to do a linked half double crochet in each of these 2. So again, you'll just want to go back under that middle horizontal bar of the previous stitch, pull up a loop through that, then go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then go through all 3. Then do that again in the last stitch of the row. And that should give you 4 stitches in that row. You'll go ahead and turn your work. Now this is where the repeat begins for the main part of this pattern. So you'll chain 2. This is going to be for rows 3, which we're starting now, all the way up through row 42. In each row we're going to be increasing the stitch count by 2. And that's adding an extra one on each end of the row. So we'll be doing 2 stitches in the first and 2 stitches in the last stitch. And we're just doing linked half double crochets for each and every row. So just go into that first stitch and pull up a loop, and then into the first stitch, and then do another linked half double crochet in that same first stitch. Then we'll do another one in each of the next 2. And now in this last stitch, we're going to do 2. So that's 1 and 2. We're just going to repeat this again in each row all the way up through row 42. So we'll just show you this one more time. Turn your work and chain 2. Pull up a loop in that first chain. Then do your first linked half double crochet in that first stitch. Then do a second linked half double crochet in that first stitch. Now we're going to do 1 in each stitch all the way over to the last stitch of the row. Okay, and now that we're in this last stitch, we're going to do 2 in this last stitch. Okay, and just repeat that for each row all the way up through row 42. Okay, and once you complete up through row 42, this should give you 84 stitches total all the way across. Okay, once you've completed your row, you should have a triangle. Let me see if I can zoom out just a little bit here. You'll have a triangle with 42 rows of your linked half double crochet. So in this last row here, we're going to count 28 stitches in and put a marker. Okay, so you put a marker at stitch 28. Now we're going to count 28 more stitches and put a marker at stitch 56. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to give us our places to fold. So we will be taking, let me zoom out here again. You'll want to first fold in the end that does not have your hook in it, and you're just going to go ahead and place this first stitch over the stitch marker. Okay, then you're going to want to fold over the end where your crochet hook currently is and have the last stitch over that first marker that we put in. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. And since we are working all in one piece here, what we are going to do, when you're looking at the top, you'll see your last stitch you just did in the previous row where our stitch marker is. So we're going to go ahead and stick our hook through that first stitch, through where the stitch marker is, and through the stitch right next to it that would be lining up. Go ahead and take your stitch marker out, and we're just going to be doing a single crochet stitch through all those three. So now we'll go into the next stitch, and the one right behind that, and the one right behind that. So they'll all line up here. And see, just like that. Do another single crochet. And it does help to separate these as you're working through them so you can just see where the next stitch is on each fold. Just go down the row, working into the next stitch. Once you're getting closer to the end, you can just go ahead and take this marker out too. So that way it's not in the way and you're not fighting to get that out as you get to the end here. Now, if this gets a little too tight in here to get the full 28, if you end up with 27, that's fine too. Which is what I am actually going to be ending up with as I try to do this last one. Okay, so we have one row now doing single crochet. Now we're going to do a second row for the seam at the end, going back into the same stitches that we just did for that single crochet, but this time we're going to be doing half double crochet over it. So all you have to do is chain one, go back into that last one that you just did, just do a half double crochet there. You can see where you went in on each of these single crochets. So we're just going back through that same hole but doing a half double crochet. Come out the other side of it. And this will just give us a stronger seam at the bottom. Sometimes you might just have to guide it just a bit to come up in the right place on the other side. Because again, normally you'd be working in these stitches up here, but we're not doing that, so it can just get a little tricky. Intention is important on this last row, just to make sure we have an even line going all the way across. And for the last stitch, it'll just go in to where we put in the first stitch when we were doing the single crochets across the bottom. Now we're going to flip it over again, and you'll have the front here. Zoom out again for you. Okay, so what we'll want to do here is you're going to take your string and you're going to cut it at this point. And pull this out just a bit here to give yourself some leeway. Now, take your hook, go up under here. What we're going to be doing is, you see this edge here. We're going to be taking our hook down at the base, just coming up right where we'd be even, coming out both of the sides here. But we're only going to come up towards this bottom. Take your tail, hold your stitch here so you don't pull that in. And go ahead and just pull that through and thread it through that hole. So you'll have it coming out the back side here. Now we'll go back into our loop. Put our hook back in there. Go ahead and zoom in some more. So like I said, we'll be going up this edge here. So just go into this first part. You might have to get a little forceful with it on that first one, just to get it through the edge. And then there's no exact science on the back side. Just go into what is about even with our edge here. So that would be there. Now you're going to have to take your hand down into the pocket, hook your thread on your hook, pull that up through the first one. And then pull it up through that end, and then just through your working loop. So you're just doing a slip stitch all the way up this. Just evenly. Again, there's no exact number. You just want it to look even. Put that through there. Again, hook. Just to show you what I'm doing under here. When I get my hook through here, just taking this and wrapping my tail around it and pulling it back through. So it comes through that first one, then it comes through the second one, and through my working loop. So we'll just be doing this all the way up this edge to the point where the two folds meet. And one trick as you get used to working with this is just pull your thread through one fold at a time. So add this last one. So I'll put it into this last one. Or you can go ahead and take your crochet hook and just pull this back through. Then we'll just turn this inside out and we'll weave in the ends using our yarn needle on the inside here so you don't see that on the outside. Now you can block this if you want. It's not needed, because as you put things in here, it'll pull it out and bring it a little further down. Thanks for watching, and if you like these tutorials, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified as new ones come out.